our hellos when we're live then?
Oh, we should be live now.
Are we live? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, hello.
We
Is there
are.
anybody in there? Are we?
So,
I can't see I
so
can't
wait.
see us on the channel.
I can see us on
So
the channel.
someone type boobs into the ether.
If you can't see, I was going to say if you can't see it on the channel, where are they going to type boobs if it's not there? But then you
Yeah,
said into the ether, and I'm like, oh, okay.
just sort of type it and I will hear it in my mind. Oh, that's why I'm not logged
Oh, we've
in.
got one.
Why
We've
am I
got
not
one.
logged in? I'm on a different one. I'm
I'm
on a
waiting
di-
for someone to react in chat to the image on the screen.
Oh, because I haven't seen what the image on the screen is yet. Although I think you mentioned
It's
it. What?
disgusting. It's revolting.
Hang
Um,
on, I can't see it on the channel. What am I doing? Okay, I'm just gonna take your word for it that we're live, and then the
well,
chat will
people have
appear
found us.
eventually.
We are currently being watched by
P
80 people.
People have found us. Okay, hello, 80 people. I can't see you.
Um,
Hold your hands over your eyes and go peekaboo.
so,
Hang on, tweet the
hmm?
stream out, and I'll click on it because I want to tweet about it.
Sure, yeah, I'll do that. The
Because Twitter is everything to me.
image on the screen, we're gonna address that at the end. Not at the end. We're gonna address that later. We're gonna leave this
We're just
hanging.
just gonna
It's the
sort of let
plan.
it hang there.
Yeah. Um, but
Yeah.
in the meantime, I would just like to let people know this is a completely undoctored image. This is from a BBC broadcast. Nothing has been done to this by anyone. This is how it was
Why would
originally.
anyone want to?
That's right.
You
Tegan met
get
the
arrested.
Sixth Doctor.
Yeah, yeah. See, I was going to joke something there, but just you got there first. That was the better line.
I've tweeted it out.
Okay. Last thing I see on your Twitter feed is go to horny jail.
Yes, I did tweet that. So, we
Oh,
were
there we
before we
go.
pressed the button talking about the
Jay and
fact
Stu
that
talk about a doctor thing.
it's been confirmed that some of the classic missing episodes have been found, but not confirmed which one they are, and the speculation is that it's Dalek's master plan. That's
And
what
it's
the
not
hopeful
going to be
brain.
Dalek's master
That's
plan.
what I want it to be Dalek's master plan, though.
Everyone wants it to be, but Murphy's law. If any episode gets found, it's going to be the space pirates.
It would be so funny if it was the
Yes, it
space
would be.
pirates.
I have been saying this for years. I want it to be the Space Pirates because I want to watch this fandom clutching at straws, trying to be grateful for something that's shit.
Well, just watch the reactions to the new series.
Yeah, true.
Um,
But boomch.
all right, so we watched the Two Doctors recently.
Yeah, the two doctors.
It was a ride. This image is not from the Two Doctors. You will be
No,
glad to hear.
this is coming later.
This is from the Two Doctors, though. I've got Colin on the screen and Pat, but Pat's got orange eyebrows.
Oh,
I own a
oh,
legitimate copy of this, by the way, but I didn't have it with me, so I found it an upload of it to the internet, and I watched it there. And the only difference was that it was in black and white.
weird.
I think it would.
What, you watched the two doctors in black and white?
I did.
Well, the story starts out with black and white, as in it's nudging the viewer, going, "Hey, you remember black and white?
Do you remember?
Remember? You remember
when
when?
we didn't have color in the show?
Remember when we didn't have cut? Didn't someone write a story recently that tried to argue that the first two Doctors eras were in black and white because the first two Doctors were
I
colorblind?
do love that as a little like canon tidbit. Um,
Well, it's more a joke, isn't it?
the other, I also like. Don't listen to the story Time in Office. It's really crap. But the one thing I like from it, other than the one thing I like from it is that Leela now canonically has the head of the Raston Warrior robot mounted on the wall of her kitchen, which I like.
Oh, that's quite nice.
The other thing I like about that story is that shit, it's gone. What was it? Oh yeah, they have a little joke in there about the Tegan is trying to pass the Gallifrey background knowledge test for to allow her to enter Gallifrey, which obviously she can't because she doesn't know anything about Gallifrey. And one of the questions is how many hearts is a Time Lord born with? And they joke about This is the nerdiest fucking joke I've ever laughed at. I think it's Leela is saying Tegan says one, and Leela says, "But Time Lords have two hearts." And Tegan says, "But I thought they got the second one after the first regeneration," being a joke about how in canon that's the first time it was mentioned that he has two hearts. You can call me a nerd now, chat. It's like it's a Big Finish release. I don't think most of the people listening to it would have got that joke.
Well, yeah, and from what it sounds, from what you've told me about it, Time in Office does sound very, niche and fiddly and involved with canon. So it works. It makes sense to put that in as a joke.
Thing about Time in Office though is it's rubbish. Don't ever listen to it. Tegan commits genocide, and the Doctor's like, "Oh well."
Well, Tegan has, if any companion was going to commit genocide,
we've had this conversation before.
Tegan.
We've had this conversation before, and I'm saying Mel.
I really think Tegan, just like she's so brash and shouty that she just sort of she makes me think of a Nazi. She's kind of Nazi-ish, isn't she?
I could definitely see her cast in that role somehow.
Right, so we've started out with talking about which companion would commit genocide, and I've said that Tegan is kind of Nazi. It's only going to get darker from here because the two Doctors is fucking horrible.
Yeah, when you say horrible, how do you mean it? Because you've said that like a couple of times while we were talking about it before the stream.
Well, here's the thing: I kind of appreciate just how in your face it is and how unrepentantly nasty it is, because I do like me some nasty media, and there's bits of enjoyment I can get out of it. It's just watching it, I can see why people hated it. Like the Sixth Doctor's era, generally.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I really enjoy this story, and I don't know why. Because when I say, "Oh yeah, I really like the story," I have to go, despite the themes and the messages it really sends, and the characters, and the plot, I like it though.
And the visuals.
Oh yeah, the visuals aren't great, and the canon sort of breaking.
Well, the visuals kind of like it oscillates between being one of the worst looking Doctor Who stories and one of the best looking ones, I'd say.
Which bits do you think look really nice?
Lots of the exterior shots in the villa in Spain.
Oh yeah,
I think that they paid a lot to film on location, and you can see it on screen.
Yeah, and another benefit to filming on location is that Colin had to take off his jacket to film there. Colin famously had a jacket that he and all the fans hated at the time. I think the jacket was the only good part of his costume, and that he should have like worn that jacket with like everything else respectable, and it would have been sort of like Tom had a wacky scarf, he had a wacky jacket kind of a deal. Fans would have understood that the one ridiculous piece of clothing is acceptable, but like a whole ridiculous themed outfit is sort of pushing it. But that's sort of a tangent. The perk is that he has to take off the jacket to film in the heat, and instead of looking like a clown, he looks like a Colombian drug lord.
Really, because I was thinking that little colourful waistcoat made me think he looks like one of the members of the Beach Boys.
He can be both.
He can be both, yeah. Well, the Beach Boys were sort of drug lords. Oh, hello, Nathaniel. Council of Geeks in the chat.
Hello. So
we love you.
Yes, we do. The Two Doctors is I'm gonna open with it. I'm gonna open with the big meat of what I think we're gonna talk about. I think this story is really fucking racist.
Yeah, totally.
In a way that doesn't really. It's the sort of way that people like to excuse, because it's not overtly racist to anyone who really exists. It's just thematically, this like the messages that this story sends are that racism is correct, actually. And it's not like you can't enjoy this story. It's just you've got to be conscious of the messages it has in it.
Yeah, we're not trying to cancel the Two Doctors.
Yeah.
Just for the record. Although the additional thing that we're going to be talking about later did get cancelled.
Yeah, for good reason. For good
For good
reason, that
reason.
one.
Yeah,
And people they've already seen it. They know why.
they know what we're going to talk about. Yeah.
So, the Two Doctors plot is about a race of people called the Androgens. Let's get them on screen now.
Andro Gum.
Andro Gums. I've written it Andregums.
It's such
but
a stupid name.
I don't know. It sounds like a lot of other Doctor Who names for things.
It's just the way that they've combined the word android with gums. It just sounds stupid to me.
That is pretty much what they've done. So we first get introduced to the Androgums through... There are only two Androgum characters in the show, in this story. And, well, yeah, in the whole of the show, because these guys don't get brought back for some reason. Androgums are an alien race that we get introduced to, and the way that they look different from humans is that they've got bright orange eyebrows and moles all over their face. It was a rough year for the costumes department, I guess.
And the guy wears a kilt.
Yeah, and he brandishes a sword. Oh, my favourite part about that.
It's basically put him in a Jimmy wig, and it would be like a caricature of a Scottish person.
What is a Jimmy wig?
You're in Scotland. You
I
surely know what a Jimmy wig is.
I don't know what that is.
It's a thing that you sell English tourists. It's like this big curly orange wig.
Huh? I've never heard of that.
Hang on, it is a thing. I haven't made it up, have I?
Let me look it up.
I might have made it up. Yeah, Jimmy wig. Yeah, it's a sort of big orange wig with a tartan flat cap.
So, just before we start, one of my favorite little details about this, and by say favorite, I'm like, hang on, why? Is that Shockeye, the Andro Gum character Shockeye, who is the chef, has a sword on his belt throughout the whole story, and whenever you will notice, like I've seen this story a lot of times and never noticed this until my most recent viewing. But when it's pointed out to you, you'll be like, hang on, yeah. Every time he gets in a fight or wants to threaten someone or feels in any way himself threatened, ignores the sword on his belt and grabs the nearest weapon to him, which in most scenes is a kitchen knife. See, the first scene where the second Doctor arrives in his kitchen in the TARDIS, he sees the TARDIS arrive, and runs to the counter and grabs a kitchen knife to threaten him with, and you're like, hang on. This doesn't seem quite right. But that's the small complaint. The big complaint is that the story is sort of... Should we do it chronologically and get to it when we get to it?
Yeah. Do it chronologically, and I'll just throw out.
Though.
Yeah. Do it chronologically, and I'll just sort of throw out my issues because I've actually bothered taking notes this time.
So we have we were introduced to the story through the through the second Doctor. He is a returning Doctor. He is this story is from the sixth Doctor's run, but the second Doctor makes a cool reappearance and meets the sixth Doctor. I remember actually when I was a kid, I didn't know that two Doctors existed, and I loved multi-Doctor stories. I would replay the 5 Doctors and the 3 Doctors like so much, and then I just didn't know the 2 Doctors existed. And when I first heard it, I was like, I think it's probably from my dad or someone. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was like, I said 2 Doctors. No, you mean the 3 Doctors? No, the 2 Doctors. There's a story called the 2 Doctors.
Well, it's quite innocuous.
Yeah, it's like bear in mind this is before I knew about Big Finish. I knew about it, but I didn't really listen to it. So I only knew about the Sixth Doctor's TV stories, and also I never really got into the first 2 Doctors because I couldn't get past the black and white because I was a child. So I found out about the 2 Doctors, and I was like, oh my god, which 2 Doctors? And whoever I was talking to excitedly said 6 and 2, and I went, oh. And then had basically no interest in watching it. I was like, oh, I guess I'll put it on. But I guess that's why I didn't know about it.
Well, that's actually one of the things I like about the 2 Doctors. I like that it doesn't make the fact that it's got multiple Doctors in it the point of the story.
No, yeah, it is just a story that has two doctors
Just
in it.
a story that happens to have two doctors in it. That's what I like about it, because like Five Doctors is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
We'll leave that there. Three Doctors has its issues.
Five Doctors
Well, I
is
mean,
better than it has
well,
any
I
right
mean,
to be.
yeah. I mean, both of them have their issues. Five Doctors, principally, the problem with it is that it's technically the Four Doctors, isn't it? Four Doctors plus one, a little bit.
It's like
Um,
four,
but
three doctors really.
but that's the thing. That's the thing. My issue is that multi-doctor stories a lot of the time feel like they're more a celebration of the fact we've got multiple doctors on screen, and they kind of forget to tell a story a lot. Like
Yeah.
that's a problem I've had with a lot of recent Big Finish multi-doctor stories.
That is what
Like
Out of Time was.
yeah, that was my problem with Light at the End. That it's more a celebration of the fact that there's these multiple doctors on screen.
Which
I know. I know that the reason that I watched Two Doctors in the first place when I was a kid was, oh my god, the second Doctor meets the sixth Doctor. Oh,
Yeah.
what story? Oh, yeah, whatever. Second Doctor meets the sixth Doctor. Wow, isn't that amazing? But what I like is the Two Doctors. It's just a story that happens to have two Doctors in it.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
like about it.
And unlike the Four Doctors, which I've not actually listened to, they do meet and they interact. I understand that a complaint about the Four Doctors is that it's just a story that's got parts, and each part has a different sort of doctor in it or something.
Yeah, that's principally it. I mean, my principal problem with the Four Doctors was the only reason it exists is just to complete things.
I'm okay with Big Finish doing that.
Yeah, true.
But we're introduced to the story through the eyes of the second Doctor. The sixth Doctor doesn't appear until quite late through the first episode, like maybe halfway through.
Yeah, it mostly just sets us up with two, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we
It's
get
like
introduced to-
it's like two is the Doctor for like
well,
this week only.
it's sort of like it's set up in the way that you would set up in the modern Who would set up the pre-credit scene that shows like some incidental characters from this episode getting killed by the monster or whatever, and then the Doctor arrives and has to figure out what happened to them. That's how this is formatted. The second Doctor arrives, he interacts with the story for a while before getting taken out of the action in a way that you don't really understand yet, and then the sixth Doctor arrives and has to figure out what's gone wrong.
Yeah, and another thing, yeah, and because it goes on for so long, because it's like a full 25 minutes. This serial, originally because in season 20, which season is this again? 21. They made the move from 25-minute installments to 45-minute installments. In some rebroadcasts, it got broadcast as it got split up again into Revelation of the Daleks was like 4 25-minute episodes. Two Doctors was 6 25-minute episodes. So what you got here is episode 1, full 25 minutes with Patrick Troughton.
Yeah, I noticed that they. I noticed when I was looking for a place to watch this online. I have a legitimate copy. I will point out for chat. I just didn't have it with me. That's what I'll tell the police. So I noticed that there were versions of it that were split into 6 parts and versions split into 3. But yes. So Pat Troughton arrives and he interacts with the story, and this is where it gets racist. Right away, right off the bat. If you're expecting overt like real world racism, it's not that. It's thematic racism. It's like, hang on, if we think about what this story means, I don't really like it. Kind of racism. It's not. They don't like have racist caricatures in it or anything. But the second Doctor meets this science man.
Apart from Shockeye, who is definitely a Scottish person.
Is he?
Well, he's dressed in a kilt and he's got that cap on.
He eats weird things.
And he eats weird things. Haggis.
See, I thought that when I was trying to like in my head pushing towards like what would he be the closest real life like racist caricature of. It was like an Eastern person, in the sort of the colonial impressions of the Orient kind of a world, kind of a thing.
Yeah, true, kind of. It does have bits of that in there in some of the dialogue.
If you literally just replace his talk about replace his attitude with like one that's slightly more focused on honor, and you've got a caricature of an Eastern person, I think, of like
Yeah.
a caricature of like colonial attitudes towards the Chinese. But oh, hang on.
Okay, go on. I won't interrupt.
So, these creatures, the Androgums, are the new alien race that this story introduces, and the Doctor meets this science man. That's him on the screen there with the futuristic clothes on.
He looks like the guy out of Video Killed the Radio Star.
I don't know what that is.
You never heard Video Killed the Radio Star? Classic 80s pop song.
I've never heard of this.
I don't know. Google it. It's nice. They
I will.
play it on Absolute Radio a lot. Anyway, go on.
So, this scientist has, for one thing, been doing experiments on time, which is why the second Doctor is there. He thinks they're dangerous and that they should be stopped. But for the second thing, he's been doing experiments on an androgen. And he has been augmenting her with technology to make her smart. Because she's biologically really stupid. And the Doctor is appalled by this, saying how you can't change nature and that naturally she'll always, whatever you do with her, naturally she'll always be devious and cruel and barbaric because of her racial heritage. And you're like,
Really, really.
But the problem is that, I mean, first of all, the Doctor shouldn't be saying that, you know, that's the kind of thing that a villain would say. But the problem is as well that the story proves him right as with its events. Because later on in the story, when the Doctor gets injected with Androgum DNA, he becomes barbaric and cruel and obsessed with food. In all of the ways that he warned this scientist would happen. And he's also right about the augmented Androgum in that she hasn't changed her nature and her attitude. She's just smart now, and instead of being, oh, I'm gonna kill, she's, I'm going to kill. That's what he's changed.
I mean, you could argue that it's more. You could argue that it's a nature versus nurture thing.
Well, you could, but
you could argue it's a nature versus nurture thing, but at the same time, it's injecting Androgum DNA into the Doctor, and
yeah,
he goes insane and wants to eat people.
It is almost explicitly a story that says no, it's nature though.
Yeah, it's nature though, and the Androgums are savages.
Yeah, it is essentially a story
humans.
That uncritically presents the idea that like the differences between different cultures and different ethnicities generally acting different ways isn't due to cultural influences or nature, you know. And when I say different ethnicities, I mean different nationalities, not ethnicities. But you know, the show presents it as ethnicities. So because you have this show uncritically presents the idea that that's all due to nature and genetics rather than anything to do with culture or nurture, which is the racist idea, pretty much.
And the way that it makes this explicit is that Androgum DNA injected into the Doctor changes his appearance.
Yeah, it changes his appearance and the way he acts.
And the way he acts. So it's like the Androgum. It's like Bob Holmes has created a new racial stereotype.
Yes.
And he's exploring that idea in that way. That's the thing. I don't think it's intentional.
Well, I don't think it's like it just represents attitudes of the time, uncritically presenting this idea.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone went, let's make an episode about how racism is good. It's people wrote this script, not realizing how racist it was, and no one noticed.
Well, it's like I said. I think maybe this started out trying to explore a nature versus nurture argument, and it got lost somewhere, and it ended up like this.
Well, I honestly think I honestly don't think it's that deep. I think it's just that Doctor Who was used to doing this with things where it actually works and isn't like, thematically racist, where you've got things like the Daleks that are an entire species of fascists. But the reason that works is because A, they were genetically engineered with emotions removed, and B, the way that Dalek society is set up, any individual Dalek that deviates from that ideal that the Daleks perceive as ideal is killed, and that's why you can basically guarantee that any individual Dalek will be a fascist. Whereas in this instance, that's not fleshed out at all. It could be that the Androgums will explicitly kill any Androgum that isn't stupid and obsessed with food, and that's why. But even then, you have an episode that takes them and explicitly says, no, it's their genetics though. But that, it does seem
Licked
like
lips.
it does seem like to me. The other villain in this is the Sontarans, who were introduced as an entire race of militaristic.
Oh yeah, the Sontarans
barbarians.
are in this episode as well, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Did you see one?
No, there were two actually.
Oh no, there were two. Yes, there were two. Did you see them? I think they were in the background of one of the scenes.
Yes. I actually, funnily enough,
Look, there
I don't think I have any images of them in the pic. No, I actually have one, but it's from a fix with Sontarans.
Oh,
That's not from the episode we're talking about.
That works.
Those...
They're on the DVD cover. Have you got the DVD cover slide?
I haven't got the DVD cover loaded in.
Yeah, they're on the DVD cover. They're barely in this story. Most of it's Shockeye.
Yeah, Shockeye should be. The thing is, I really enjoy Shockeye as a character.
I really enjoy Shockeye as a character.
He's so much fun when he's on screen. But
he just chews that scenery.
Yeah, he has such a presence. He's one of my bring back Shockeye. Unfortunately, I think the actor who played him has passed away, and
yes, he has. I'm looking at the Wikipedia now.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be the same without him. But it's a shame. It's a shame that he was wasted in this story.
Rest in peace, John Stratton.
He did a great job with the material he was given.
Yeah,
this
because
is a 20 Nog note.
What? 20.
It's like my favorite unapologetically corny line in the serial.
Oh yeah.
When this guy is in like a restaurant on Earth in what is it, the 20s, and hands the guy some strange alien money and says, "This is a 20 Nog note. It can be exchanged anywhere within the 9 planets." And you're like,
it's so stupid.
I understand why the people who liked this in the 80s were seen as nerds now. Right, okay, where are we going? We've not even got to the part where the 6th Doctor arrives on the scene. So, the 2nd Doctor talks to the scientist about the experiment he's doing on Androgens. I keep calling them Androgens because that actually makes sense as like a name for a people. Like they're people from Androga, they're Androgens, but no, they're called Andro Gums. So yes, the 2nd Doctor arrives on the scene with his companion Jamie. They talk to the scientist there who's doing experiments, and they also meet Shockeye, the racist caricature of a fictional people. Where's Two in Science Man? I've got that image in here somewhere.
Fictional Scottish person.
Yes.
Why doesn't he have a Scottish accent?
I feel like maybe that would have been too on the nose.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So the Doctor protests, going, "Oh, you can't change the nature of an androgum." And he's proven right by the end of the story because. But then some Sontarans arrive on the space station. They kill everyone there, and they capture the 2nd Doctor. And we don't really know exactly what happened. We see the Sontarans arrive and shoot a couple of people.
And Jamie gets left on the station.
Yeah, and then it cuts to the 6th Doctor, and we don't really see what happens to any of them. That picture.
Yeah, Yeah, should we also mention about yeah, because it's the it's the second Doctor and Jamie. There's no Zoe, and they're talking as in this is the season 6B theory. We're not sure
Yeah.
we're not quite sure where this goes.
Or should we go into season 6B theory?
Yeah, do you want to? Let's just do a note on the
Season
season.
6B theory
This
is
is
explicitly
this
canon
is so
according to Big
nerdy.
Finish. So, the
You have
second Doctor has...
if anyone wants to watch this, they need an encyclopedic knowledge of everything in this franchise.
No, because we're quickly going to explain Season 6B theory. Season 6 is the series of Doctor Who in which the second Doctor regenerates and is replaced by the third Doctor. But when they were filming the second Doctor's regeneration, they hadn't cast the third Doctor yet. So it just sort of ends with him going off to regenerate, and then the next episode is the third Doctor arriving and collapsing out of the TARDIS, and you never actually see the regeneration. The Season 6B theory states that the second Doctor had loads of adventures in between what we thought was his regeneration and arriving and the start of the next series, because we never actually see it, and because that would fill loads of gaps in canon, like the two Doctors where he's explicitly visually older and you can see that, and is traveling with just Jamie, which I don't think ever happened in his run. And the idea is that this happened in between his regeneration, which actually isn't his regeneration, and the third Doctor, his actual regeneration into the third Doctor. That's Season 6B theory, and it's canon, and I can prove it.
I love that I just threw you that curveball of having to explain all that shit.
Is anyone...
This is ultimately the entire problem with Doctor Who. It's completely impenetrable to anyone who is not willing to learn that from memory.
Yes. I mean, new Who normies in chat, how do you feel? Are there any of you left?
Having just listened to that.
Has anyone in chat... Someone said, see ya. Someone said Davis made a YouTube video on Series 6B. Yes, I saw that. It was really good. I really enjoy Davis's videos. I really enjoy Broke Canon. It's a great series. Go check out Broke Canon by Davis.
Also, subscribe to my channel.
Yes.
Do it.
Link in description to a full playlist of this series that we do, the stream archive that these streams go to, and to your channel.
Also, like the video and subscribe.
Someone said, I feel like the woman on the right. The fact they had to call her the woman on the right, and they don't know that that's Perry, is like, yes, you don't know Classic Who. And I feel your pain. So, where were we in the story? Well,
Six has just arrived on the spaceship.
Well, no, he's not even there yet. They catch fish first.
Oh yeah, they catch fish first.
This isn't at all plot relevant, but it introduces our characters and theme, which I like. I like that they took the time out to do that. We need more of that. It's just a scene of our characters fishing, and it introduces us to what they're like as people, even though this is a series and we've already met them before. But it's good to consistently establish who your characters are, Chris.
Well, it's quite a nice little scene as well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching Colin catch that weird fish.
Yeah. And Perry's sort of there like... I really despise how Perry is characterized in her relation to Six in these stories. She comes across...
Oh, yeah.
As his victim. Like, she always seems really nervous about him, around him, and he is so brash that you're like... this is a really uncomfortable relationship to watch on screen.
Yes, it is. The fishing scene. I'm grateful for the fishing scene because it's pretty much the only nice scene in this story.
Yeah,
especially when it comes to Perry.
And it's there for it's this episode this story trying to have a good message by going, the Androgums throughout this story try to eat the main characters because they're obsessed with food and eating creatures. And the good message of this story is that, it is a good message that, hey, there's no actual, like, explicit line where eating creatures becomes wrong. and the Doctor becomes a vegetarian at the end of the episode, which he still is in as the 12th Doctor, although I think he might have had some lapses in between.
Yeah, is he? That's a point.
Well,
Have
the
we ever
12th
seen
Doctor is explicitly a vegetarian.
Is he?
When did
that get
the
brought
11th
up?
Doctor eats fish fingers, so...
When did that get? When did that
well,
get brought
there's
up?
loads of lines.
This is the problem with canon. It makes my head hurt.
There's loads of lines where the 12th Doctor talks about... he never explicitly says, I'm a vegetarian, but there's loads of lines where he essentially lists off vegetarian arguments. He goes... there's one point where he explains the evils of the universe of not being evil, but being hunger. Very few people are evil, but lots of people are hungry. And then he looks at Bill eating a bacon sandwich and says, "Do you think your bacon sandwich loves you back?"
Yeah,
And there's loads of moments like that where it's like, this man is a vegetarian. No, he eats sushi. Does he eat sushi? Is he just a preachy vegetarian who eats meat? Is that what's going on? He'll preach it, but he won't do it.
I'm trying to think of any times that I've seen the Doctor eat meat. I don't know.
I'm sure he eats like shepherd's pie or something as the 9th Doctor.
Yes, I agree, Cookie Master. The problem isn't canon. The problem is this show's been going on for too long.
Well, canon can get in the way.
That is true. Anyway, so they catch a weird fish. It's quite a nice, quiet little scene. Then they go to this spaceship.
Yeah, they go to the spaceship where the 2nd Doctor went and the Sontarans caught them. Now it's post-Sontaran carnage and everyone's gone or dead. Except Jamie, who they discover, Jamie being the 2nd Doctor's companion, to normies in chat, and they discover him like all beat up and sort of hysterical, thinking that the Doctor's been killed.
And Colin says, "No, I'm here, so I can't have been killed because he's the same person."
This is probably Colin at his worst in this story. The scene with him and Perry in the ship.
He is so condescending throughout this entire scene of him and Perry in the ship. Every other line is literally, "Oh, you couldn't possibly understand, you silly little girl. Let's go forward."
Yeah,
explore.
It takes only a few adjustments to turn him into a sympathetic character, right? So he's kind of a dick to Perry the whole time, and all it needs, I think, for him to be a complex and nuanced character. This is the 6th Doctor at his worst, by the way. This is one of my favorite Doctors I'm talking about. I want to put that out there. But he's amazing in Big Finish. He's not amazing in his TV run.
You forget that because it's been years since I watched the 6th Doctor TV story, and I forgot just how much of a fucking arsehole he is to Perry.
Yeah. So
I'm really not exaggerating when I say every other line is just like, "Oh my dear little girl, you are stupid. Don't bother your pretty little head about these great universal matters that I know so much more than you about."
The only thing that I think would have made him a Doctor that I adored, even in his TV run, is like when they exit the TARDIS and they discover that this is a space station full of dead bodies, and Perry's going, "Oh God, oh." And is clearly quite disturbed by the situation. If he literally just took the time out and said to say, "Are you okay? Do you want to go back in the TARDIS?" Right? Then I would love this character through and through. If he was like a condescending ass, except when it actually mattered, sort of a way, I would love him. But he's not. He's just sort of like, "Death is normal. You must get used to it."
Death is normal, silly human. Get used to it.
No, and he does say, "Well, you can wait in the TARDIS if you like," sort of like if you're too much of a little bitch baby to tolerate all the dead people, then you can fuck off.
There's just so much talking down to her, and to the point where it becomes, one, disturbing, and two, it breaks the story. There's this bit where Perry stops in the pipes. This is before they find Jamie, where she goes, "I've been frozen, baked, and I'm climbing through miles of piping." And I just thought at that moment, Why are you still with the Doctor then?
Yes, exactly. It's like it genuinely feels like Stockholm syndrome. It feels like, or it feels like that she's too scared to ask him to go home because
Yeah,
like
it's like it's like traumatic watching this.
yeah, it does seem like it does feel like you're watching an abusive relationship. There's no nice way to put
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Um, and yeah, Big Finish. If you ever watch The Sixth Doctor and Perry, listen to Big Finish, Sixth Doctor and Perry. Don't watch
Yeah,
Sixth
don't
Doctor and
watch them.
Perry.
It's horrible. And
Um,
this is the nice episode.
yeah, this is one of the better ones, I think. Um,
Well, no, this is one of the less horrible ones.
so there's
It gets nastier.
okay. So just quickly, should we do Sixth Doctor and Perry actual recommendations? I want to go with Masters of Earth. That's a great story. Have you heard
Oh
Masters
yeah,
of Earth?
oh yeah. I think I downloaded that in a sale ages ago. I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, I really enjoy it. It's like it's not the kind of story that
Let me just get out the Big Finish app.
it's like there's two kinds of ways that a story can be like, or not two kinds of ways, but there are two main ways that I look for that a story can be really good, and one is that it does something special and out of the ordinary, and the other is just that it's a very solid story with solid characters, and that it's well crafted, well crafted and unique and special, right? It lands nowhere on the unique and special scale. It is very much just this is a story in the Doctor Who universe that exists, but everything about it is very solid. And the characters are wonderful, and the plot is well crafted, and yeah, it's just a very well executed generic Doctor Who story.
Oh, here's one that I remember really enjoying, The Reaping.
I listened
It's
to that. I did
yeah,
really enjoy that.
I really enjoy that one. Perry goes home and the Cybermen invade our hometown. It's really nice.
Wait, no, I didn't listen to that. Shit, I was confusing it with
It's
the Leviathan.
one of the one of the earlier ones. Oh yeah, Leviathan. I love that one as well. Yeah, there are lots of good Big Finish ones. Just don't watch the TV ones because fucking hell, this one
Like, watch this if you want to watch this story. Watch it as an artifact of the mistake.
of
Like,
of a different time.
yeah,
That's the thing. Watching this when I was a kid, I wasn't thinking about this though. Of course, I was mostly just thinking, "Oh my god, about to watch the Sixth Doctor meet the Second Doctor.
yeah.
Isn't that remarkable?" I wasn't
It's
thinking.
it's
I wasn't
almost
thinking. I wasn't thinking about. Oh, the Sixth Doctor is basically holding this character in an abusive relationship, isn't he?
yeah. I mean, it's almost. I could
Shut
see
up,
this
Perry,
like
you
giving.
little woman.
I could see this giving people like a damaging perception of the world, because it's like when you're a kid, you do have simplistic understanding of goody, baddie. You don't see the Doctor as a guy with like good intentions when it comes to what he wants to do with the world around him, but who is an ass to his companion. You just like, as a child, you look at him and go, good guy, yay.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a child idolizing the Sixth Doctor TV run. Oof.
Oh god, that's gonna lead to thing that we're gonna talk
Oh
about
yeah, yeah,
later.
and we know it definitely happened.
Yes. Oh god.
Um,
Um.
so the Sixth Doctor arrives on the space station, sort of works his way through it, finding that everyone's been slaughtered by Sontarans. He meets Jamie there, who sort of thinks the Doctor's been killed, and then they find out that the Sontarans went to Earth, and they follow the Sontarans to Earth in the 1920s in Spain. Is it?
Yeah, Spain.
Right. Yeah. So they're in
I love
1920s Spain.
I love getting onto Spain. I do love the soundtrack to Two Doctors. It is really good. I love this sort of mix of dark ambient with bits of Spanish guitar.
Yes, it sort of it mixes
It sort
Spanish
of
guitar
finds a
with their
it sort
normal
of finds a
synths.
Yeah, it sort of finds a nice balance between the normal, like, dark and moody synths with this lilting Spanish guitar, which goes with this nice sunlit setting.
So yeah, the second turns out the second Doctor wasn't killed by Sontarans as we've been told. He was captured by them and they want to do experiments on him to discover his. It's another weird thing about genetics. Time Lords have it genetically encoded into them, according to the canon in this one. Does this ever come up again? Is this like confirmed by the rest of the show, or is this quietly ignored? The story says that Time Lords have a genetic component that they need to make a TARDIS work, and that a TARDIS won't work when a non-Time Lord tries to use it unless it's been primed by a Time Lord. Does that ever come up again anywhere?
Yeah, does that? Because I swear that companions have used the TARDIS without it being primed by a Time Lord.
Well, no, because that would just be the TARDIS, wouldn't it? Because
well, yeah, true, yeah. Oh yeah, because it gets revealed at the end of this story that the second Doctor can whistle the TARDIS to him.
Yeah, he has a little remote.
Which was quite nice.
Which I guess he loses and never decides to pick up again, because that would get him out of a lot. Almost to the extent that it would ruin a fair few premises for the show if he could just summon the TARDIS at will, which is probably why they didn't keep it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so the Sixth Doctor and Perry and Jamie go to Spain to find what's happened to the Second Doctor, and they find that the science man is doing experiments on him to try and isolate the parts of his genetic code that will let them build their own TARDIS. And that's the Sontarans' plan. The Sontarans want time travel, and they're using this science man to help them do it, and his Andro Gum servants as well.
His name is Dastari for the record, but I like calling him Science
I'd
Man.
forgotten his name was Dastari. I watched this a couple of days ago and I'd forgotten his name. But yeah, let's keep calling him Science Man.
In my head, I'm going to call him Video Killed the Radio Star Guy.
You can call him that verbally if you want.
The radio star. Video killed the radio.
Oh, I have heard that.
That's people familiar. In chat, yeah, you've heard that song, right? Yeah. Okay, keep going.
So, what? Okay. What I'm at a loss for words. I'm not sure what to talk about when they get to Spain. There's those two incidental characters that are a bit weird. The English guy and the Spanish lady.
Oh yeah, Oscar and what's her name? Yeah, the English guy who runs a restaurant and is also
a moth collector.
Also a moth collector, yeah.
His characterization is relatively solid. They do a little bit of tell, don't show a little too much, but he's quite a strong character, I guess. Which is ironic, because he's very well characterized as like a sort of weaselly... sympathetic, but weaselly. Like, he tries to get out of helping people, and he doesn't cope well with danger or blood or, you know, any of that. And he just spends the entire story trying to get out of the story, which is quite fun to watch. But you do sort of understand his motivations, and he's just sort of upset by it all, and you can't really blame him for that, because it is quite an upsetting story.
He's the antithesis to Six in this story.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, give Six a bit of him, and you've got a well-rounded character, I guess. Although I think they're both well-rounded characters. It's just Six in this story isn't the Doctor at all.
Just some humanity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the perfect way to fix the Sixth Doctor in his run, if you want him to be the grumpy arsehole, is to, when Perry is showing actual distress, have him actually turn it off and go, "Are you okay?" I want to see that version of him. I would really warm to that character.
Yeah, because when the second Doctor gets injected with Andro Gum DNA and goes insane, there isn't really much difference between the insane second Doctor and Six.
Kind of. Well, I mean, it's sort of it's sort of alignment chart style stuff. So, the Sixth Doctor is essentially well motivated to do good things, but doesn't give a shit about not being an arse. He is a colossal cunt.
Yeah, and that also breaks the story in some ways as well. Because okay, should we get on to when they inject the second Doctor with Andro Gum DNA?
Yes. So, the augmented Andro Gum wants the science man to abandon his plans of looking for the Doctor's time nuclei that will allow them to build a TARDIS, and instead want to, because they've built most of a TARDIS already. They just need a time, like the parts of a Time Lord, to use it. The augmented Andro Gum suggests, hey, what if instead of extracting the DNA from him that we need, we inject him with Andro Gum DNA, which, because all of personality is genetic apparently, will turn him to our side and will... and then he will be our ally and he can pilot the TARDIS for him because he'll still have a bit of Time Lord in him and he'll be able to do that. So yeah, they inject the second Doctor with Andro Gum DNA. And to show that he is evil now, they give him bright orange eyebrows and some moles.
On his face.
Yes. Well, maybe in other places as well, but we don't see that.
And my point about 6 being extra horrible in this story is when 2 gets Andro Gum DNA injected into him and he goes insane, they do this thing where they make out like the 6th Doctor is getting some remnants of the Andro Gum DNA and he's going insane and wants to eat human flesh now.
Yeah, because the second Doctor is a past version of the 6th Doctor, and like...
Yeah, and they're both connected, and 6 is getting some echoes of Andro Gum into him,
like Marty fading out of pictures in Back to the Future. The 6th Doctor is fading into orange eyebrow mode. Yeah,
which is quite nice. It's quite a nice idea, but it doesn't work at all because there isn't any difference between 6 as a psychopath in this story and 6 regular.
Well, no, he tries to eat a cat. I don't think the normal 6th Doctor would try to eat a cat.
He says that. It's just at that moment it didn't really register to me. The bit where he's looking at a cat and licking his lips and going, "Yes, that would be quite nice and tasty to eat, wouldn't it?" It didn't really register to me because I'd just been so horrified at his behaviour throughout this story.
He doesn't feel like a different person. He just feels like he wants to eat a cat now.
Yes.
Yeah. So the 6th Doctor, the second Doctor, escapes sort of.
With Shockeye.
Yeah, and he's now got Andro Gum DNA in him, so he's obsessed with food and stupid.
Yeah, and he and Shockeye go out because they want to go and find something to eat, and Shockeye is interested in eating people.
Yes, that's like one of his main driving factors throughout the story. So hang on, where is the picture I got of this?
Oh yeah, and it gets to that bit where I remember messaging you when we were talking about how racist this episode was. The bit where the bit where Shockeye is asking the second Doctor, so do they eat their own kind, these humans? And 2 goes, I believe sometimes in the far Indies.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, did you really just say that?
It's like you didn't have to go there, man.
Yeah, it's just too far. Although then he did make the joke that I did laugh at. This isn't a racist joke. It's he did then say, yes, have you heard of this delicacy called shepherd's pie?
That's such an old joke, and I love it.
That is an old joke, but it did make me laugh.
Yeah, I do love it. They make that joke in you'll know what this is. Chat won't. The Goodies and the Beanstalk.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I bought the Goodies box set. I've been binge watching them. I haven't watched Goodies and the Beanstalk yet, though. I just sort of been doing the series randomly.
See, I was raised on the Best of the Goodies box set, but haven't.
Oh yeah, me too.
I watched your videos on the Goodies, or your video on the Goodies, and realized that half of the episodes that you rated in that I had never seen, and now I just want to buy the full collection and watch those ones.
Oh, buy the collection. It's amazing.
But was the full collection even available until recently?
No, it only came out the other year. Tim did get to see it though before his sad death earlier this year.
That's nice for him.
Yeah.
It's
rest in peace, Tim.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the 2 Doctors.
Yes.
It's horrible, isn't it?
So yeah, the second Doctor has and Shockeye. I love the scenes between the second Doctor and Shockeye.
Oh, I do too.
They are a joy to watch, genuinely. Like there's nothing I would change about them.
yeah, because Troughton just throws himself so much into it, and the guy
Yeah,
playing Shockeye, John Stratton, they're just chewing that scenery, and it's so wonderful to watch them talking about how much they want to eat human flesh.
yeah. And the characterization is so corny, but so solid at the same time. Like,
It's
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 not corny because it's bad. It's corny because it's unapologetic.
yeah, it relishes how nasty it is.
Yeah, and
And it's so nasty to a point where you just can't help but you just can't help but find it infectious.
yeah, and you've got the second Doctor just sort of making all of these faces, um, and the second Doctor, they've got this great dynamic where Shockeye is curious to taste all of the delicacies of Earth food, and the second Doctor knows all about all of the delicacies of Earth food, and but is now way more enthusiastic about him because of the racism that was injected into him. So he, there are all of these scenes where Shockeye is going, "Tell me of the food of this world," and the Doctor is going, "There's shepherd's pie and duck stuffed with," and it's so wonderful. This part, like, this is the only part of the episode that I'm like, I love this, without saying but. I guess, but it's thematically the way we get to it isn't great. But the scene itself,
But
I love.
the fact we got there is good. That's the thing. I kind of wish it had gone further and had the second Doctor and Shockeye like hold a waiter down in a restaurant and like say that they're going to cook and eat him, and then it cuts to later and they've actually cooked and eaten him.
I don't know. I'm not.
That would have been way too far. Just my deranged imaginings.
It would. I mean, if Shockeye had done that and the second Doctor was there, I'd be okay with it. I'm not sure I'd want the
No,
second
I
Doctor
wouldn't.
to have done that.
I wouldn't be. No, I wouldn't be okay with that. Just I don't know. As I said, this entire sequence goes so far that I just thought, fuck it, I want it to go further.
Their enthusiasm about food is infectious. Like I'm watching these two characters vicariously. I'm vicariously experiencing the food with them as they taste it, because it's like these are two characters. Well, no, this is Shockeye has never tasted human food before, and he's loving it, and he's so enthusiastic about it all. And I'm like, I want to taste human food. Wait,
which is why this episode is not about vegetarianism.
How so? Well, yeah.
Because it's so infectious.
Yeah, it is infectious. It's like Shockeye and the second Doctor talking about food this whole time. You're like, yeah, food, yeah. And then the sixth Doctor goes, and I think the moral lesson from these events that we've just witnessed are that we should probably be vegetarians. And you go, oh, I
No,
suppose.
it isn't. No, it isn't. They make it look so fun.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They make it look fun, but they're also explicit that this is bad.
This is bad and naughty, but it's not.
Yeah, and this is so they go to a restaurant. They order like every entree and eat all of them. And they I love the scene where Shockeye is saying that he doesn't see the need to start a meal with an appetizer or a starter, and says that he wishes he could get straight to the entree. And the second Doctor is going, but you see, in these cultures, it is the custom. It is often most of the great chefs of this world agree that to really appreciate one's food, you must start the eater with an appetizer to get the digestive juices flowing, a light dish that will get one in the mood to eat the main. And it's like, I love this. I love the discussions of culture. I find that so, like, characters that care about different cultures and talking about it from that perspective, I always enjoy seeing, and it's really well done in this.
Yeah, and it's just, as I said, infectious, which is why I don't think this episode is giving the mess. This episode is not giving the message, be a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I know that these are, I know that they're, bad characters, and so maybe it's not even saying the Androgums are bad. It's like it's like an advert for
Well,
it.
it's like, I think it's trying to say the Androgums are bad, but
It's
presenting them so well,
it's
it
trying
makes them
to,
look
but
so fun.
it's trying to, but it ends up glamorizing it.
Yeah. Well, it's like
It's kind
the
of like
message of the story is, I mean, besides racism is correct actually. The message of the story is you should be a vegetarian, but what do you think
it's
human
not.
flesh does taste like?
You should be a vegetarian. It just won't be fun, will it?
Yeah. Which is honest.
Ah, it's like it made me think of Do you remember? Do you remember that show Skins?
I do. I never watched it all the way through. I watched a
Yeah,
little bit of it.
yeah. I personally thought it was rubbish, but I admit that I'm on as lonely table for one and that one. But yeah, I went into watching Skins when I was a teenager with absolutely no desire to do drugs whatsoever, and because Skins is about drugs because it's called drugs,
Yeah.
and I came out of it. And I came out of it, there's like a lesson in there and everything. But I came out of it thinking, I want to do drugs now. They sound cool and fun and make you popular and confident, and I was none of those things. So it was kind of the lesson was kind of annulled by making it look glamorous.
Yeah, the biggest thing that media will do this with is violence, where you'll have a story about how violence is bad with all of these cool glamorized action scenes where someone beats someone up in the coolest way possible.
Don't do this.
Yeah, puts on shades.
Puts on shades. Puts cigarette out on their own biceps.
But yeah,
Like there's a line, of course, but at the same time, if your message is supposed to be a vegetarian, don't have Patrick Troughton doing one of the most brilliant monologues about appetizers I've ever seen.
yeah, and it's so brilliant. It's so well done. It's like through and through. If you're going to watch any of this episode, just watch those scenes. They're wonderful.
Don't eat this.
But we're getting to the end of the story now because it was explicit that to turn the Doctor into an Androgen, it would require two operations. One to inject the DNA into him in the first place, which they did, and that's why he has orange eyebrows. And the second to stabilize his condition so he doesn't turn back. And they just never get to do the operation to stabilize his condition so he turns back. And then they basically that's basically it. There's essentially a detour where the Doctor gets hungry and they have to chase him, and then he stops being hungry because it wears off, and then it's like, okay, it's good again. We can go and stop the Sontarans now. Hey, remember that the Sontarans are in this.
Yeah, they're in this story as well. Oh yeah, Shockeye stabs the waiter.
Oh yeah, and it's really sad.
Yeah, it's really sad and also gruesome. Do you remember that this is a show for children?
Yeah, I watched it in black and white, so the blood wasn't as clear, but...
Well, it is quite gruesome, and it's quite a... He quotes Hamlet as he dies.
He does.
It's just it's so dumb.
I think I have the image saved of him dying. Let me see if I can find that in here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, he's dying. It's covered us up now. There we go. Yeah, so he dies. Poor him. He's probably one of the most sympathetic characters in this story. Except like Jamie and Perry, I guess.
He didn't really do anything wrong.
Well, no, he did sort of do stuff. Like, he's cowardly and, like, when he thinks, oh, maybe there's been a plane crash at the beginning when they see the crashed spaceship. He wants to not even try to help because he's horrified by the idea that he'll see a dead body or blood and guts. And you're like, that's the wrong thing to do. But, like, he's, like, his motivation is sympathetic and that, yeah, you really understand his fear and the emotions he's feeling. I was like, I wouldn't do the same thing, I hope, in that situation. Like, you never really know how you're going to act in a difficult situation, but I hope I would actually try to help people. But I understand him. Like, I see him, you know.
Oh, I've just remembered another one of my favourite lines of the scene of 2 and Shockeye in the restaurant. Do you serve humans here?
Yes.
Yes, I guess the humans. No, I mean human flesh. I just love that.
The best line in that whole scene is, "This is a 20 Narg note."
Yeah, he's yeah.
Like,
Oh,
when they have to pay for their meal, and
oh, it's
Shockeye just hands
adorable.
this guy alien money, and the guy says, "I don't know what this is. We can't accept this." Shockeye just gives like my favorite indignant performance of, "You fucking what?" Like, this is a 20 Narg note. It can be exchanged anywhere. Just, I love it for how fucking naff the name they gave the currency was. They didn't need to do that. They didn't need to talk about the 9 planets. They just chose to.
Oh, I can think of NAFA names for alien currency.
Zorgs.
Plubars.
That sort of like pushes it beyond naff to like Rick and Morty realms of self-aware. This is
Yeah,
not self-aware, and that's why it's
true.
brilliant.
True, actually. Yeah.
So yeah, the Doctor turns back into a Time Lord. The second Doctor turns back into a Time Lord. The sixth Doctor stops wanting to eat cats, and they go back to the villa where the villains have been building a
We
TARDIS.
assume.
Oh yeah,
We assume it.
Just quietly munching on cats off screen.
Oh, yeah. When we go, as we're going back to the villa, I should mention that the the ending scene of episode 2. This is where I was talking about how it looks really nice earlier. There's this sequence towards the end of episode 2, towards the cliffhanger, where Shockeye's chasing Perry with like a meat cleaver. Like,
Right.
it looks really pretty, and it kind of reminded me of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre a little bit. Just sort of,
Yes.
it's really brightly lit, and you got Perry running away from this insane psychopath who wants to eat her flesh.
You feel so sorry for Perry in this story.
Yeah, you really do. She's treated so badly.
Yeah.
Although, like, at least that's the character that's supposed to be a bad guy.
Yeah, Jamie gets the short end of the stick as well, but then he gets to go back to his nice doctor. Like,
Yes,
Jamie probably gets brutalized in this story more than Perry does.
there should have been a scene where like Jamie is going back with the second Doctor, and Perry just goes, "Take me with you,"
Yeah. Like, Jamie gets the shit
or
beat out of him.
call the police.
Jamie gets the shit beat out of him, like, to tenderize his meat before he's slaughtered to be eaten. And, like,
Oh
obviously
yeah,
he's saved, but
again, I was rooting for Shockeye.
why would you be Shockeye killing Jamie?
Because Shockeye's just wonderful, I think.
The best part is that if this fits into season 6B, Jamie could die here, and that wouldn't contradict anything. That would just work. That would make sense. That would be, oh, that's canonically when Jamie dies.
Actually, it would, yeah, for him with season 6B. Oh, and this also Shockeye does say here when he's justifying killing Jamie, he says primitive creatures don't feel pain in the same way we would.
Yes, and
Which,
that's the
which I
explicit,
know,
like, vegetarianism bit.
yeah, which is the explicit vegetarianism bit. But given we've also brought up the racism angle, they're primitive creatures. They don't feel the same way we would. Was the same justification for slavery.
Yes. Which is a bit weird, isn't it? That
Which
it's
is a
sort of
bit weird the way it's conflating
making,
those two things.
yeah, it is actually. But it's like
I know the point is supposed
it's weird
to
that
be
it's trying to do the
vegetarian.
vegetarianism message, but while lacking so much self-awareness on the other front.
Yeah.
It's like, even because it feels so, like, the Doctor is a historically prejudiced character. Like, you can't, like, it's one of his flaws explicitly, and this story exemplifies it very well. But, like, in this story, it's taken way further than it's reasonable to, I think. And that the Doctor, like, just is explicitly kind of racist in this story. Not kind of, right, he's just racist in this story, but then the story proves him right. So, you know, it's like, well, but that race actually is bad, though. Oh no, we've written a racism.
Just inherently bad. It's not really an ideology. It's just they're savages.
Yeah, it is like, well, yeah, the story isn't intentionally sending an ideological message. It just does accidentally by essentially presenting what sound exactly like a load of cultural and racial stereotypes, and then going,
Well,
they're true and they're caused by genetics.
and it's because it's so cartoonish.
Yeah.
Like there isn't like as much as like this story is 2.25 hours long, and it's really not that deep at all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
quite
it's very
quite a lot.
surface level and its theming.
Like normally for a 2.25 hour long story, we'd be talking through its plot for like 2 hours, but here we've been talking for like 70 minutes,
Yeah.
and we're right at the end.
And the characters are well written. It's like a decently written story, I think. There's no like I don't like any like most of the characters in this. I adore Shockeye and the Second Doctor and Jamie, I guess, but that's like half. But like, I don't like a lot of the characters I'm supposed to. Jamie doesn't really get anything to do, I guess, which is a shame.
Oh, someone in the chat, Byzantine Dark Wraith, put being racist is as natural as eating meat. Like if that's the message, then yikes.
I mean, it is sort of like this. This episode just presents racism as true uncritically. Is pretty much. I don't think it compares being racist to eating meat in any way.
I suppose eating meat isn't technically natural. I mean, that's the vegetarianism argument there.
It is natural, isn't it?
No, not really. I mean, because humans don't need meat.
Yeah, but naturally humans still do eat meat.
Well, that's just
something being natural isn't an argument for being good or bad in any way. But...
Yeah, that's just how society has been, raised. Because like animals can eat raw meat, we have to have it cooked, otherwise it will make us sick.
There are people who can eat raw meat, and they're like a lot of them are conspiracy theorists.
There's
like a whole world of this. Like when you say that people can't eat raw meat,
To be fair, I'm not very invested in this argument. Don't at me.
No, I don't know if it's true or not. Like, I know that there are people who eat raw meat and swear by it, which is weird, and I don't want to try that. But yeah, it's like I'm good. Yeah, I don't actually know if they're right or if they're severely damaging themselves by doing it.
I don't know. Please send me 5,000 word long essays that I won't read.
Yes. So.
But anyway, so yeah, he's tenderizing Jamie, and this bit where he's tenderizing Jamie, it happens like in the last 10 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
I'm mostly just looking at the counter at this time, just thinking, so when are they going to save Jamie and end it?
Yeah. So. The Doctor defeats the Sontarans by sabotaging the TARDIS that they've built, and the evil Andro Gum tries to use it and dies. Really brutally, actually. Like I was expecting it to just disappear and have the Doctor go, she's one with the vortex now. But like she tries to use the TARDIS and it blows up and like she screams and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and the Sontaran goes all melty and horrible.
Yeah.
And gooey and squishy.
Yeah, they literally dissolve the Sontarans with acid on screen.
Wanna eat it with dessert.
Like my guess is that the reason they didn't have my guess is the reason they didn't build like Sontaran skulls and then flesh around them and like actually have footage of the flesh melting off the Sontaran skulls is they didn't have the budget, not because they didn't want to.
Yeah. Oh, and then the Sixth Doctor kills Shockeye.
Does he?
Yes. He smothers Shockeye to death, and then he shakes his head and goes, "You're just desserts."
Oh, he does! Why did I forget that?
Yeah, why did you forget that? That was fucking horrid.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah,
Shockeye deserved better. I mean, he... Like, in terms of his moral actions, there aren't many more deserving characters of a death, but...
Isn't this the man who never would?
Yeah, the Sixth Doctor was a little different.
Yeah, well, the whole of the classic show was a little different, wasn't it?
But, like, yeah, is it in cold blood? I don't remember the circumstances in which he kills Shockeye.
No, I don't remember either. I just remember the bit where he smothers Shockeye and goes, "You're just
chloroform,
dessert."
Isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, is it chloroform? I don't know. Just he smothers Shockeye and then says, "You're just desserts."
I think he could have just knocked him out. That would be fine.
He could have just knocked him out, but given what Six is like in this story, I was just like, what the fuck?
Oh no, apparently it was cyanide from the guy's moth
Was
kit.
it? I don't know. Please explain to me what happened on the television screen. I don't know.
Um,
Do that for
because
me,
no, yeah,
chat.
because that's the only reason they have the conversation earlier between what's his face? Can't remember his name. What's Englishman?
Oh, Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar says how he preserves his moth. He kills his moths with cyanide because it's the most humane way to
Oh
kill them,
yes.
and that's
Yeah.
why they
So
have that
six.
line. So that the Sixth Doctor has the cyanide later.
So yeah, six kills
Oh,
Shockeye and says
fuck.
you're just desserts. This story is so corny.
Yeah. I mean, because he's explicitly obsessed with food. He's like, dessert, lol, you're fucking dead.
It's just like so many like
Yeah.
puns and like, do you serve humans here?
Oh, I loved you.
Like that's the thing. It's horrible, and I shouldn't like it, but
Oh, I
just
love this story. I love this
just
story, but
just
just
something
despite
about it is just
everything,
so entertaining. Yeah.
um,
So yeah,
I
that's
defend
basically.
Six killing Shockeye. Actually, Shockeye was too evil and far too gone. Also, Six was but that's not the point in terms
Also,
of the Doctor's
he
character.
also Androgums are savages and they deserve to die.
Yes. Shockeye was too evil and gone. Also, Six was hiding from Shockeye and smothers him in self-defense. That justifies it way more than anything else to me. Yeah, yeah. If it's self-defense, then I'm cool with the Doctor killing some Doctors. Some Doctors it pushes their character further than they would go, but
Jay,
hmm,
if you were in a situation where you had to eat human flesh, would you?
probably. Like, I mean, if I had to, then I guess I have no choice, right?
Okay,
What are my
okay, but
alternatives here?
okay. Let's go back a little bit because I've written in my notes, make Jay have this conversation. um, okay, so if you're in a situation where you could eat human flesh, but you didn't specifically had to, you could just try it. You know that there's no like the person who the flesh came from is still alive, and
Consenting.
it just sort of came out of them. But you could just try it, would
Like it's
you?
someone who injured their leg and needed their leg amputated, and when they amputated their leg, it was like good to eat, and they're like, "You can if you want, sure, I'll have
Yeah,
some."
and they're like offering. Yeah, would you?
My understanding is that eating human flesh has a high risk of causing what is essentially the human equivalent of mad cow disease. So no, but from any moral standpoint, yeah, sure, why not? I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, same.
So like,
I've
if
been, I've been, sorry, just I've been asking everyone this question since I watched this story.
it's time
Because
to ask the human flesh question.
what I enjoy freaking people out. It's fun.
No, I understand that. I understand you're human.
Yeah.
So I guess that was the two doctors.
It's horrid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit horrid. I really like it, but I don't know why. Oh, other than the scenes between the Second Doctor and Shockeye, I understand why I like those.
It gets the Doctor so. It gets the Sixth Doctor so utterly wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
it's
this was who he was back then.
Yeah, its messaging is whack. It's
Yeah.
it's nasty visually.
It's vicious.
Vicious and cruel and horrible, and yet I just can't look away from it.
Yeah.
And it's not that, but as I said, it's I enjoy the fact that it's just a story that happens to have two doctors in it.
Yes, it's very good at that. It's very good at not being like, oh my god, the doctors are here. What?
Oh my god! Wow, isn't it so cool that the Sixth Doctor meets the Second Doctor, which is the only reason that I watched this to begin with in the first place originally. And the fact that I was fan squeeing over that means that I didn't really take notice of just how horrible this story is.
Have you listened to Out of Time yet?
No, I haven't. People keep telling me to. Is it any good?
I don't think you will be taken with it.
Yeah, because I mostly prefer Big Finish's weird experimental things.
It's very normy. It's like, hey, this is a story and it has the fourth and 10th Doctors in it, and they fight the Daleks.
That is what it sounded like when I saw that.
And they're both good in it. Uh, they both give very solid performances. They tell good jokes, and it's the 10th Doctor at the peak of his like Time Lord victorious days, so he has some range in there.
Oh,
Um,
okay, that's good.
like the 10th Doctor
Does he?
gives the fourth Doctor a
Does he
talking
do?
to, saying, uh, "When you could have killed the Daleks, going, do I have the right? You should have said yes, I do." And those scenes are great.
Okay, that's nice. Does he do? Oh, it's a something. Blah, 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 blah. Ah, nice.
I'm not
That is
sure. He
that's his
definitely
that's
could.
his catchphrase.
It
That's his
is.
catchphrase. It's insert some sci-fi babble here. Nice. That's the
People
10th
will
Doctor
try
in
to
a
persuade you
nutshell.
it's Alonzi, but it's not. He says
No, it's
Alonzi though. I remember
no,
that.
it's not. No, it's not. It's something something something. Nice. Yeah, that's it.
So, what do you want to cover on this thing that we do next? Oh no,
Yeah.
wait, we have
Okay.
another thing to talk about first.
Yeah, we should talk about this. Okay. There is
The
a
image is
special
going on the
feature.
screen.
Yeah, the image is going on the screen. Yeah, this is the fun thing that we promised you.
Super fun.
So, given how horrible the Two Doctors is, it's kind of appropriate that there was a special 10-minute minisode aired during the Two Doctors on a different BBC show, and it comes as a special feature on early pressings of the Two Doctors DVD from prior to 2012, I think it was that we found out.
Mysteriously, it's not on modern versions of the DVD
It's
for
not on. It's
unknown
been cancelled.
reasons.
Yeah.
I'm just looking in the chat. Oh no.
Oh no.
So yeah, the
So
pictures on
yeah.
screen, they know.
So yeah. A fix with Sontarans.
So this is a 10-minute little story, where in the show Jim will fix it, run by convicted pedophile Jimmy Savile. Not convicted, he was
Well, not
yeah,
convicted. He
because
died
he died
before it
he
came
could,
out.
but confirmed pedophile, and all of the nastiness that goes along with that, like as bad as you can be. Jimmy Savile, where he meets the Doctor, and like there's a child in it who is a fan of the Doctor and gets to meet the Doctor and be the Doctor and help defeat the Sontarans. And Tegan is there as well for reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, if you don't know what Jim will fix it was a show where children all across the country would write letters asking for like a special thing that they want to do
Yeah,
of this man named Jimmy Savile, and Jim will fix it. It's been revealed in the years since around 2012 that it was basically a front for this man to groom people.
yes, and
Oh no.
it's a fun watch until he shows up.
Is it though? Really?
I mean, the
Because
performances are a bit stilted because
I
they're clearly. I think it's all done in one take. I would assume.
yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, because I watched this back when I first got the Two Doctors DVD when I was first buying all loads of classic Doctor Who DVDs, and I thought, and it was like a nice little thing that I uncovered because this was back when I was first buying all the classic Doctor Who DVDs, reading up all the information online about classic Doctor Who, and I discovered that there was a secret mini-sode aired during one of the old classic Doctor Who serials. It looks like it's hard to find. Oh my god, it's a special feature on the Two Doctors DVD. Wow, that's interesting. Let's watch it. And I watch it, and it's like it was written by a child.
That's
10-minute scene in which Doctor and and a companion who wasn't even the companion at the time just randomly shows up for some reason.
But that gives it more charm to
some
me. That's the only good thing I take out of the story is that Tegan beats the Sixth Doctor for reasons.
because Nicola Bryant wasn't available.
Is that actually the reason?
Literally it. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, fortunately, she didn't have to meet Jimmy Savile. So yeah, that's good for her.
If Jimmy Savile was someone else, and this was all like a completely innocent story that didn't have any pedophiles in it, where would you rate it?
It's the worst bit of classic Doctor Who.
Really? Like
It's
even regardless of that.
it's so insubstantial, so mind-bogglingly, mind-bogglingly piddly and rubbish. It's literally just the Sixth Doctor is there. Perry shows up for no reason. No, I'd even rate this below Dimensions in Time.
What?
Dimensions in Time has Ace in it. Dimensions in Time has Seven in it. Much to
But
my shame, I admit it's rubbish, but I kind of enjoy Dimensions in
I
Time.
rather have like I rate this above things that are substantial because they're bad.
Yeah, even Doctors in Distress. Yeah, I would rate this below Doctor in Distress. It's like, so a child shows up. There are Centaurans there who are just sort of like grunty monsters who they look even worse in this than they do in the actual episode.
Yeah.
Just sort of grunty monsters going, "We are going to kill you," and then the Doctor gets this child to kill these
Yes.
Centaurans and melt them into goo.
Remember the
And
Sixth Doctor?
yeah, the Sixth Doctor, melt the aliens into goo. I command it, children. My child army will do my killing for me. But
You know, in Journey's End, when Davros is berating the 10th Doctor and saying, "Oh, the peaceful man, never violent, never carrying a gun. But the truth is, you take ordinary people and fashion them into weapons." And like it shows a montage of clips from the previous show. This should have been in there.
Yeah, it should have been. Hang on. A fix with Sontarans, because I found that someone's posted it on Daily Motion, because I had to rip it because I was trying to rip it from the DVD for you, but someone has posted it on Daily Motion. Hang on. I'll put the link to it in the chat.
I discovered that my dad has a copy of this. So
Oh, that's good. From before it got cancelled from the DVD.
Yeah.
Hang on, yeah, I posted the link in the chat. But yeah, it's fucking rubbish, right? And so the Doctor gets the child to melt the Centaurans into goo, and he asks the child, "How did you know how to do that?" And he says, "I've seen you fly the TARDIS on telly."
Oh yeah, I hate that so much.
I hate that. It's terrible.
And I memorized all the buttons you press because I am interesting. So,
and also the Doctor has a TV show. That's canon.
It's just a fourth wall break, and we're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
My problem with the fix with Centaurans, though, and the reason why I think it's so rubbish is, to its credit, it does look like a genuine scene from a classic Doctor Who serial. Like it.
Okay.
It's directed exactly like one.
This story breaks the fourth wall in the bad way, which is essentially just going, "This is a TV show. Whoa!" Right? There are like plenty of good fourth wall breaks in Big Finish. Like, have you listened to? Oh, what's it fucking called? What is it called? Is it like Legend of the Cybermen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Land of Fiction one.
Yeah, where is it Zoe is talking about how she wrote down everything that happened to her during her time with the Doctor, and starts listing and like says they're over there, and then someone goes, "Oh yes, they're all labeled," and then starts listing out the names of the actual stories as they were broadcast.
That's nice.
And it's like, oh, and in
but it's
the
not
Kingmaker.
Well, I've seen you fly the TARDIS on telly.
Yeah, and in the Kingmaker as well. The Fifth Doctor has a book series called Doctor Who, in which he writes about things that have happened to him or fictionalized versions of himself. And the reason it's called Doctor Who is because he wanted to call it The Doctor Who, and then like the title of the book. So The Doctor Who Fights Daleks, The Doctor Who Discovers Historical Mysteries. But they missed the comma in the publishing house, so they called it Doctor Who. And they called the character Doctor Who to fit the title. And it's like just this nice little fourth wall breaking joke.
Yeah, but this is just this is just shit.
Yeah, this is a telly show. Hello.
Hello, yeah, and what I hated so much about this is, as I said, it's directed like a scene from a classic Doctor Who serial. It looks like a scene from a classic Doctor Who serial, a genuine one,
Mm.
and it was listed. As I said, the way that I found out that this existed was seeing all these Doctor Who guides on the internet listing it as a special Doctor Who episode, as in this is canon,
Right.
because this was back when I cared about
There's a
canon.
reason that Shada got the mystery.
Yeah, yeah, because it was listed as a special episode alongside Sharda. When it's not, it's a scene from a show which we now know was a front for a serial paedophile.
When will we get the Fix with Sontaran's recreation with the Eighth Doctor?
Yeah, but then then Jimmy Savile appears on the monitors after he's got the child to kill the Centaurans, and we do get another fourth wall breaking moment, which has been recontextualized to be quite nasty now, where the Sixth
Yes.
Doctor goes, "It's horrible, it's revolting."
Yes, as Jimmy Savile appears on the screen. And
Yeah,
then, yeah, well, Colin
that
clearly
means
winces as he shakes hands with Jimmy Savile in this.
yeah.
Like, I
I
assume
mean,
he just thought he was creepy rather than
yeah,
knowing
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
but
Lots of people did just think he was creepy, and there were rumors flying around about Jimmy Savile, which no one believed because they were so over the top.
right,
And
yeah.
and he kind of played into that persona, so that's why. Oh my god, the bit where he takes Tegan's hand and goes,
Yeah.
"And the lovely lady." It's just like, oh Christ.
Yeah, it's really genuinely uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, especially knowing what we know now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, it was uncomfortable before, but knowing what we know now, fucking hell.
Yeah, I was saying that in reference to what we know now, and I was like, yeah, it would have been uncomfortable anyway, you're right.
Yeah,
Um,
and the reason that I wanted us to talk about this is okay. The two doctors is problematic, right? You can't really cancel it though because it's it's got its redeeming qualities. It's got its problems as well. You can cancel the fix with Centaurans. You
yeah,
can
no
remove it
one
from the
need know this
DVD because
exists.
no one needs to know this exists because it's so insubstantial and rubbish that you can just delete it and everyone can just carry on with their day.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that's how we should do things. I think they should be available just with warning Jimmy Savile written on it.
Oh, oh, I don't. It's rubbish. Fuck it.
Well, I think people should be able to see this if they want to.
It's on Daily Motion.
Yeah, like that's the appropriate place that they should be. They should go for it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's been deleted off the DVD though,
Re-uploaded in full to the official Doctor Who YouTube channel.
in HD and everything.
HD remaster.
That is never gonna fucking happen. Although I have to admit, I have to admit, as I said, it looks really nice on the DVD when I was watching it.
Oh, maybe
For
someone
this,
did. Oh yeah,
um,
there's an interview with Colin Baker from like 2002 where he's asked about this, and he says, "I'll tell you, Jimmy Savile, much scarier than any Dalek, Cybermen, or Sontaran." And you're like, yeah,
yeah, truer
yeah.
words never spoken.
Use CGI to replace Jimmy Savile with someone not It's not worth it. It's not worth salvaging
No,
this.
no, it's not. I'm as I said, as I said, when I was a kid, when I gave a shit about canon, my biggest problem with it was the fact that it is essentially canon, like listed everywhere as like a special episode, and it, as I said, is fucking awful. But I'm glad we can just delete it now.
Yeah. So, that's basically everything. Well, I'm gonna get Jimmy Savile off the screen now. I want to do that. Um,
That's nice. Yeah, get rid of it.
what do you want to cover next when we do another one of these? I mean, we're gonna do
Um,
the next season soon enough, I guess. But
yeah. Oh, I've just seen Cookie Master in the in the chat. 13 would smother Shockeye in cold blood and call it humane.
and well, that's one of two options. She might smother him in cold blood and call it humane, and then she might because the alternative would have been shooting him, which would have been bad, or she might like give a like a lecture about how killing is wrong, or she might just look at him and go, "I'm sorry, I'm a bit awkward." You don't know. She's not. She's just written to
Yeah.
do random things.
Who knows? Who's more horrible, 13 generally or 6 in the TV run?
For 6.
Yeah, 6, because because watching how he treats Perry in this story is just
Yeah, at least 13 treats her
gross.
friends well,
Yeah,
or at least tries to. She's not very like supportive, but she's not terrible to them.
yeah, true.
She's just kind
So
of
that's
there.
so yeah, that's one way in which the 13th Doctor is an improvement.
Yes. I mean, the
Yeah,
Sixth Doctor has
yeah,
significantly stronger characterization. You know who he is. He's just a twat. Whereas the
yeah.
13th Doctor is like,
Nothing.
what?
I like that. I've been looking for something. I've been looking for something nice to say about the 13th Doctor. That's something nice. Ish, ish.
Sure, sure. Ish, that's a Sixth Doctor story. I've not heard that one,
Oh
though.
yeah. Oh yeah, that was all right.
Should we start doing the thing that we've talked about where we go through Doctor by Doctor in these and do a good story for each Doctor and a crap story for each Doctor?
I think we should do that. Yeah.
So our next story is a First Doctor story, of which I've not seen very many.
I've seen all the classic Doctor Who serials that aren't missing. I mean, I've heard all the soundtracks for the ones that aren't.
I would prefer. Sure, okay, so should we do something crap first or something brilliant first?
Um. I'm in the mood for doing something crap first.
All right, what's a crap First Doctor serial? The
I
Chase.
remember. Oh, we disagree on that actually because I kind of enjoy the chase.
Well,
It's stupid,
it's enjoyable,
but
but like it's
it's
crap
stupid
in
and
so many ways.
if you want to do more like reading into incredibly ham-fisted and kind of racist metaphors, we could do the Ark.
I'm kind of racist metaphored out for at least another month. You
Yeah,
know,
that's yeah, that's the point. All
I
right,
don't want the show to turn into the racist metaphor hour.
yeah, true actually.
People are saying Web Planet.
Oh, I love Web Planet. It's adorable. It's so adorable. Oh, and you get to put like all the pictures of like the cute little weird bug things on screen.
But are you happy to do it as the crap one? Because I've not seen it. I have no idea how good it is.
Well, it. Okay, I will admit that Web Planet is rubbish, but I find it cute.
All right, let's do Web Planet next then.
Yeah, let's do Web Planet.
All right, but thanks for tuning in, everyone. There's no super chats to read. How dare you? I'm going to brew it. No, it's fine. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This has been really fun. Thanks for coming on, Stu.
Thank you for having me, Jay.
No. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Oops.
I think I just got it.